The following program is rated D for dumb.
Hello, everybody. Dave Canyon here for Dumbing It Down with Dave, your one and only solo podcast host. Dumbing It Down with Dave, pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode, number 297. I don't know the name of it yet, but it's basically part 2 to my previous episode, which I think was titled, Everyone is Entitled to Their Ignorance. I want to thank you and at the same time apologize. I don't often apologize for my podcasts, but I want to say thank you and apologize at the same time because for some of you it was an entertaining podcast and for some of you it was quite confusing. I've actually listened to that podcast, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 times since I originally recorded it, a couple times before I published it, because I wanted to make sure that it was up to whatever quality I think that I have for this podcast. And so I did publish it. I thought it was good enough. And then I just listened to it. And I sat with it. I listened to it over and over again. And yeah, it's a little confusing. For some of you who are new to Dumbing It Down with Dave, you don't know that I do this podcast in my car during my commute to and from work. This is a from work episode. That was a to work episode. This one is a from work. It's supposed to be 2 different Daves, but I don't know if it really turns out like that most of the time. I think it doesn't really matter which direction I'm going in, and or not the fact that it's northbound or southbound, but the fact that the beginning of the week I'm supposed to be well rested and going to work on my first day and then leaving from work on my last day after doing almost somewhere between 60 and 70 hours of truck driving, that I would be exhausted and dejected and all that stuff. But I think sometimes it's often the opposite, that I'm more angry and energetic on my first day in, and I'm much more passive on my last day of work on my way home. And so I don't know. I've never really tracked it. But anyway, that's one of the original intents of the show, to do 2 half-hour shows a week, one on the way in and one on the way out. It doesn't always work out that way. I pretty much at some point decided I'm going to do a podcast whenever I feel like it, and I'm going to do it about whatever I feel like it. Last week's episode was interesting because I had just come off basically the best vacation of my life. And there's a lot more to that story, and there's a lot more that happened before my vacation. But I don't really want to get bogged down in those details right now. I think the best thing for me to do to clear up the situation. By the way, it is April 18th. It is 8:48 in the morning, and I am on my way to the New York State Thruway, where I will start the fastest podcast on earth, because I do it right now I'm doing it in my van, my Dodge Caravan, which I don't know if we're going to do a mileage report. It doesn't really matter on the Caravan. And some of you are a little bit confused about the mileage report on the Kia. And the reason why I do it because it's a 2008. It's 13 years old already. And I'm closing in on 300,000 miles, which might not be a common occurrence for Kias. And I don't know how long ago I started the mileage report. It was actually sponsored to a certain extent by a friend of mine who has a podcast. And it was just like a little swap, a little exchange. Then anyway, so I would do his show and attach it to the weather report and the podcast and the mileage report, and he would plug my show. It turns out that he didn't really plug my show that well, and then he passed off the duties to one of his co-hosts, and they butchered it. Week after week, they butchered it, which I should have told them a long time ago. Listen, just stop. Don't do it, because I'm really giving you a lot of time. And that has something to do with my anger last week. If you detected some anger, some frustration, an emotional letdown, not an emotional meltdown. It was a letdown. I was let down, I felt. Because I feel like I'm very generous with my time. I'm very generous with anything I have. And I've been reaching out to podcasters ever since I've been in the industry. I've been doing this for over 5 years now. And when I'm received, it's very nice. But when I get pushback, I don't get it. And not just for being a podcaster, but for whatever I believe in. I don't like getting pushback because I don't have push forward. Does that make any sense? Why am I getting pushed back when I'm not getting any push forward? I'm not giving any push forward. I'm engaging you in a conversation and you're pushing me back. But I'm not pushing forward. I have people who push forward. I've talked about them on this podcast, and some of them I haven't talked about. But I have a lot of friends. Not a lot. I have a couple of acquaintances that push forward. And I would expect them to get pushed back by a lot of people because their views are very extreme. And not even very extreme, just more extreme than other people's. Right? So, I have it all queued up now. I just want to talk about, I'm going to read you the thread on Facebook, and I'm going to let you guys decide for yourself. Dave, you're wrong, they're wrong, or nobody's wrong, whatever. Decide whatever you want for yourself. Again, I don't push forward. I am not going to read this to you and expect you to 100% believe that I'm in the right and this person's in the wrong. It really doesn't matter to me what you think. The situation's over. What matters to me is how I feel. And what matters to me is that this person didn't give me the benefit of the doubt. That really bothers me. And if you've been listening to the last 296 episodes, maybe you've only been listening to the last 50. I don't even know. I would guess in the last 50, you can hear that Dave Canyon has an empathetic voice. Other than a Brooklyn accent, you hear that I'm empathetic. I root for the underdog. I support everybody. There's no hatred. I mean, I might not speak highly of my father, which, by the way, I had a blow up with him before my vacation. And I wanted to do a podcast about it, but I didn't. I would have been just as angry as this last episode, 296, if not angry. And I am going to get to that episode. But I wanted to wait. And by the time it was time for me to do that episode, I was already on vacation. And I didn't do an episode, I don't think, on vacation. So anyway, I'm a very empathetic person. I'm a very passionate person. I'm also compassionate. And even though I might be registered to a certain party, I don't really toe the line. I don't toe the line for anything. I mean, yeah, pragmatism, sure. But not that much. Common sense? Oh, absolutely. But there are times where I know that you can't or won't be pragmatic or exercise common sense. I'm not perfect. I don't either. I don't do both 100%. But it's somewhat the cornerstone of this podcast. So when I get pushback for something, and I'm going to read it to you, I get really hurt. Really hurt. I was angry. I'm still angry about it. Because now I'm going to read about it, it's going to bring it back. But I'm going to try to be objective, and I like you to also. If you want to comment on it, you can do it in the Spreaker chat box. You can do it as I'm talking. You can do, whatever they call it, real-time chat, whatever you want to do. You can tweet me at Dumb with Dave, DUMB with Dave. Or you can email me at dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. A lot of ways to get in touch with me. I'm also on Instagram at dumbingitdownwithdave.com. All right, here we go. This was 4 days ago, and this is a podcaster that I've known never met him. We met, however I meet everybody, however I've met you, if you're a podcaster or whoever you are. And he does a couple of things. He does a show with a couple of guys. He does a show with a couple of guys and a woman. And then he does his own show. And I think he actually does a lot of podcasting. I don't know how he has all that time with his job and all that, but it seems like he's living a pretty good life where he's doing all these podcasts and he's working with people that he likes. This has nothing to do with anything. But somehow I met him and I would message him and I would listen to all his, as I do with many people, and some of you know this already, that if you do a podcast or whatever you do, I'm going to support you. I'm going to make the time to listen. You could be in a band. I'm going to listen. You could be a stand-up comedian. I'm going to listen. You could be a writer. I'll try to read it. I'm a bad writer. There's a lot of things that I do to support people Because it's easy for me to say, oh, I'll check it out. And then I do it. And I am naturally curious. But then again, that's just me. I have to remind myself, that's not everybody. Not everybody's naturally curious. Not everybody's empathetic. Not everybody's mindful and polite and kind. And all that good stuff. So, I can show you a lot of evidence where I participate in this particular person's endeavors with all these kind words. Whether I meet him or not, I write them. Good show, great show. And then sometimes I actually write these things that aren't good show, great show. Like questions or comments. And I can read them to you. I'm not going to do that just yet. I don't think it's going to be necessary. So let me just read this post. I want to get to it. Let's go read this post. No icebreaker, no nothing. That was it. Let me just read this post. And I'm going to read the part where I get involved. And I'll do the best I can to read the whole thing. It's not long. It's just that I think some of it is visual. This has to do with that shooting that just took place in Minneapolis, I think it was. I don't even know where it was. Michigan? Something like that. And the 26-year-old female veteran of the force was accidentally thought she was tasing him, but then shot him. Okay. So here's what this guy wrote. And he posted a couple of pictures. And he wrote, on the left we have Deonte Wright, who was accidentally shot on Sunday. Was supposed to be a taser. And then he wrote, ... Yeah, okay. So, he's already like with an attitude. I don't blame him. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying attitude. I'm saying he's got an attitude. Because he's like, yeah, okay. Right? Sarcastic, like, yeah, it was an accident. Okay. And on the right is Oscar Grant, who was accidentally shot and killed in 2009, supposed to have been a taser. They even did a movie about Oscar Grant. This has been going on too long with no accountability. I don't know if that's necessarily true about the accountability, but the too long thing, maybe. I don't really know. This has been going on too long with no accountability. When does this end? The movie was called Fruitvale Station. I remember hearing about this movie. I never saw it. But with no accountability, I don't know. I think a lot of policemen have lost their jobs over these things. One's on trial right now. This other, some of them have resigned. I wouldn't say no accountability, unless I'm not understanding the word accountability. And I think that there might be a problem in this thread with not understanding, not just on my part, but on the person who wrote this part. Because I say something and I'm going to read it to you, and apparently it doesn't matter that I was accepting of somebody not understanding me 100%, but whatever. So yeah, this has been going on too long with no accountability. I don't really 100% agree with that. I don't disagree with it. I agree it's been going on for a long time. But then again, a lot of people have been getting shot for a long time. Getting shot and a whole bunch of other things have been going on for a long time. Anyway, so let's go on. So people respond, blah, 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 blah. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay, there we go. So people write stuff, blah, blah, blah. All in response to this. And then I get involved at a certain point. There's a woman who's commenting, and she's pretty active in this particular thread. But this is where I jump in. This woman writes, it won't stop until white people stand up who say they are our allies. Okay, I'm going to reread this. And speak up. We've been saying this for decades and nothing is being done. I'm going to read it again. It won't stop until white people stand up who say they are our allies and speak up. White people have to stand up and they have to speak up. We've been saying this for decades and nothing is being done. That's how I said, oh, that's interesting. All right, whatever. I mean, and by the way, I think this all happened when I was on vacation, which sort of plays into this a little bit because, frankly, I wasn't really all that aware of it. And frankly, you know, I wasn't rushing home to. I don't rush home ever to watch the news anymore. It's just so it's disappointing. I don't bury my hand in the sand. I've made it a point to just stop watching the news. Just get on with my life. All right. Anyway, so I asked this person. All right, real quickly, one more time. It won't stop until white people stand up, who say they are our allies, and speak up. We've been saying this for decades, and nothing is being done. Then I wrote, what does that exactly look like? I've heard this before, and I don't disagree. But what does that exactly look like to you? So what do you think about that? Is that a fair question? What does that exactly look like? I've heard this before, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But what does that exactly look like to you? It's right here on Facebook. I'm reading it. So I figured she'd say, oh, hi, Dave. This is in my mind. Oh, hi, Dave. I don't know who you are, but great to hear from you. Hey, it looks like this to me. And by the way, the reason why I asked that question is because I really don't know what that looks like. What does it look like when white people stand up who say they are the allies of the blacks? Because that's what this is, right? Allies. She goes, who say they are our allies. And this woman is a black woman. Frankly, I don't talk in terms of ally and enemy. I don't think I do. Ally and enemy. I just think of humans. I know it's hard for some people to believe, but I just really think of everybody as humans. But whatever. So I wrote, what does that exactly look like? That's all, one question mark, not two or three. I've heard this before, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. But what does that exactly look like to you? You, this person, let's just say Ms. Jones, whatever. And then the guy who started the thread answers. I wasn't asking him. I was asking her. What does that look like to you? When white people stand up, who say they're your allies, and they stand up, and they speak up. What does that look like? Just tell me what that looks like. How does a white person speak up for black people? Where and when? I'm not being facetious. I really want to know, like how would I go about doing that? To who? To where? To when? To how? To why? Just tell me. Give me some, whatever. What does it look like to you? It's a very simple question. So this guy cuts in and goes, he puts my name in there, right? On Facebook. Dave Canyon. It looks like, comma, and in all capital letters. If you are tired of the BS, then back on small letters, speak on it. Okay. Use your platform. Stop asking silly questions like, what does that look like? I mean, it's really common sense. It's really a common sense question with a common sense answer. Stop acting like you don't see the injustice and say something. But on the other hand, if you have, in capital letters, if you have to question what it looks like, then this may not be your lane. It's okay. You know what you know. Some folks only flow in what they know. You know? And I was like, what? First of all, I was asking her. If anybody's familiar how the Facebook threads work, I was asking her. Her name is in there. I was replying to her. That doesn't mean he can't reply. I just wasn't interested in his answer. I was this because she said it. So I was interested in her answer. At this point, that's neither here or there, right? It's done. So let's go over this again. He says, Dave Canyon, it looks like, comma, all in capital letters now, if you are tired of the BS, comma, lowercase, normal, writing, speak on it. Use your platform. Stop asking silly questions like, what does that look like? I mean, it's really a common sense question with a common sense answer. Stop acting like you don't see the injustice and say something. But on the other hand, if you have, in capital letters, have to question what it looks like, then this may not be your lane. It's okay. You know what you know. Some folks only flow on what they know, you know? And I was like, wow. I thought we were friends. I mean, we haven't met each other, but we've had some, nice back and forth conversations about podcasting. And by the way, I'm all up in his business about complimenting his podcast. I can show you several episodes where I'm the only one commenting. And I just went and checked. On his own solo podcast, I think he has about 15, 20 episodes, of which the first 4 or 5, I'm the only one commenting. And then for the rest of the episodes, nobody's commenting and nobody's clicking like. On Spreaker. I don't know what other platforms he's on. So I'm really there with the support. And I can read you the things I wrote. It's not like, yeah, good show. It's like, hey, good show, and did you ever think about the possibility, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can tell I'm really super active. But, I'm listening. I'm engaged. It doesn't really take the time to say, hey, thanks, Dave, for listening. Wow. Hey, like I do. Oh, thanks for listening. Thank you. That's great. I hope you enjoyed it. No, nothing. Week after week, I would comment. And week after week, silent treatment. Really? Okay. So anyway, I wrote, hi, so-and-so. Hope all is well, because I wasn't talking to him. But now that he's responded to my post, to my reply to this other person, now I'm going to be cordial. I said, hi, hope all is well. I know you've been going through some changes. Good luck with everything. Right? That's nice. Little buffer. And I was sincere. I don't write to him like that normally because we don't have that conversation. We don't have that relationship. And there's reasons for that. Because this is not the first pushback I've gotten. So I kind of let it go. Like, you know what? I guess this is not going to happen. And I did mention in the previous episode, 296, everybody's entitled to their ignorance, that, what did I want to tell you? I've been rubbing my head this whole time, folks. I just got so tired. That I listened to his show, and I know what he's going through, and he doesn't acknowledge any of my existence. Anyway, I might have just skipped a chip there. I might have skipped a memory bank there, but let me just keep on going. Hope all is well. I know you've been going through some changes. Good luck with everything. Right? But he didn't say anything like, hey, hi, Dave. No, he just rips right into me. You know what you know? You know what you know? Do you know? It's not your lane. It looks like wow. A little pushback there. So after I wrote good luck with everything, I wrote 1. I have spoken on it. I've spoken on it on my platform and in my daily walk. I've spoken about it with you and on your platform. I've also tried to speak with others on their platforms and have gotten pushback, which is totally true. 2, referring to my question as silly is many things, including insulting, dismissive, and hurtful. That's pushback. I was hesitantly getting involved in this thread because I've been down this road before. I often walk away feeling the same way I'm feeling right now. I don't come in guns blazing with rhetoric and agenda. I came in asking a simple question, not a silly question. If it's silly to you, that's one thing. May not be silly to others. My military background taught me the only stupid question is the one that isn't asked. And that is true. They used to say that in the Navy to us all the time. 3, I was asking Miss So-and-so that question. I wasn't asking you. I was looking for her answer. That doesn't mean I don't value your answer. I certainly don't have to value your insult. 4, I have many silly, and I put them in quotations, many silly questions about this topic and many other topics. I won't bother you or your threads again. It would be silly for this ally to comment or question. I know the situation is always very difficult for you. I was trying to speak up. I have my answers for today. Then he wrote back, well, I'm sorry you were offended. Again, maybe not your lane if you are that easily offended. Oh, I'm easily offended. Not that that's not true, but in this particular case, oh, wow. I'm sorry if you were offended. Again, maybe not your lane. Oh, F you. F you. Smart ace. Not my lane if you're that easily offended. Nonetheless, he wrote, I don't remember ever us talking about racial injustice on any level. Oh, wow. Wow. It's just amazing to me. But if you have some footage or something that I'll retract, some footage or something that I'll retract, but I don't remember that. Dave, look at the state of society. We tired of explaining anything. I'm sure he went there right where. If you don't see it, fine. If your common sense does kick in, then I honestly see. He didn't want to say. He wanted to say doesn't kick in. Then I honestly don't know what to tell you. But if you can call yourself an ally, then bring your voice. If you confused about any part of this, have a seat. Well, okay. How much time do I have left? I feel like we're way over. Oh, God. Anyway, I wrote, not a good platform for this conversation. I was hesitant coming into this, and now I'm reminded why. But I tried anyway. I wish you didn't assume so much about me. Maybe you should ask me some silly questions. Again, good luck with everything. I wish you and your family the best. I feel good about trying. I feel awful about the results. And he wrote, maybe you just did. Then I wrote, maybe you just didn't understand my question. I'll accept that possibility. Because, hey, maybe he didn't understand my question. Because I don't think he did, judging by his answer. And then he wrote, accept whatever you need to. And that was the end of that thread. I need more than a half hour to really unpack this, and I'm going to do another episode. I am, because I think it's worthy. I mean, I'm tired. Anyway, I had to pull over and get some coffee, folks, because I was dying. I had to get some coffee. Oh, did I lose the thread here? I think I lost the thread. Let me pause this again and find the thread. All right, so I only have a couple of minutes left, 2 minutes left. Folks, if you want a copy of this transcript, not of the whole show, but of this, I'll take out the names and I'll email it to you. I'll scan it, I'll email it to you, or just, reach out to me via my phone number, the voicemail, 347-7-I-AM-DUMB, 347-7-I-AM-DUMB, or 347-746-3862. You can leave a message on this particular show if you'd like, if you don't want to leave a written comment there in the Spreaker chat box. You can also email me at dumbingitdownwithdave. I can't even talk right now. And say, hey, Dave, can you make me a copy of this transaction between you and this other person, because I want to see it, because you were a little tired and you didn't read it right, or whatever, or it'll help you formulate your opinion. And I will try to post it on the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group, which he might be in. I don't even know. All I know is that he's never, ever, 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 ever in 296 episodes said one word to me. Boo. Hey, I heard this episode. Good job. Hey, anything. And the fact that he doesn't remember talking about anything really bothers me. So, whatever. It's the way it is. And I was burnt by it. I felt burnt. And I just came off a really great vacation. And I wasn't going to comment. I say in the thing, I was hesitantly like, I probably shouldn't comment. Who wants to hear Dave Canyon and his views on this particular incident? But I did, because I'm not afraid to engage. And I said, this is a safe place, right?
If you are enjoying these shows, please like and subscribe. Also, share them with your social media. Feel free to comment in the Spreaker chat box or call the dumb line at 347-746-3862.
Yeah.
Please keep your messages to 60 seconds or less and keep them clean. No profanity. Keep listening and engage. Do it because I asked you to. This is the Raven out.
Out. Bye.